This is video number 29 for violin and viola players. Now in this video we are going to be playing page number 18 and 19, but not with the bow. We're going to be plucking them. During this time, what we're going to be doing is putting our note reading skills to use. So if you are someone that still is behind on the note reading, you're going to get further behind. So I really hope that all of you have really taken the time to learn not only how to read your notes, but how to read and identify them very quickly so that you can play them at the right time. Because otherwise it just doesn't sound like a song. The very first thing that I taught you was the beat. And we've got to keep a steady beat or the music's not going to make any sort of sense. So learning your notes is the very first step in making that happen. So you should have been practicing the clapping along and saying. So you kind of already know these songs a little bit. But what we're going to do is actually play them. Now when you do with the playback equipment, the playback recording, it's going to sound, when you hear the people in the background playing, they are using their bows. You're going to still be plucking. One day, when we're ready, we will use the bow. We're just not quite there yet. Now, I am going to skip some of these because they are a little bit too easy as far as note reading. For example, number 54, right? That's just G. I don't know that that really is going to be training you how to read your notes. However, we are going to do 55. And 55 only has two notes to it, doesn't it? It only has two notes. It only has G and F sharp. However, we're going to go ahead and do that because, yes, there is some value to making sure your eyes are moving along with the music. The other thing is to kind of warm up your eyes. That sounds weird, but you're used to reading those big, huge notes because they had to have enough room for the little letter inside. And so we kind of got to get used to reading these tiny little notes. All right, so this is G and F sharp. We're going to pluck number 55. So get your G finger down. And we're only going to do each one of these once in the video to keep the video short. But I would encourage you to pause the video, play it as many times as you need to get it right. 55. G finger down.
55. Back and forth.
Check your hand position. G, 3 fingers down, and go. G. Now you're going to pick up and play F sharp. Now look at your music. Look at your music. What's next? G. Look ahead. What's next? F sharp. Back to G. Okay? Now if you missed anything there, pause and get it right. There's only 2 notes that you're playing there. That one should be easy. If it's not, you're a little behind on your note reading. Now don't forget, another tool that you have is that Essential Elements Interactive. If you log on to that, remember you can slow the tempo down. You can slow the speed down. You're not able to do that on my EE library. This is the speed that I want you to be able to play it at. So if you want that background music and that helps you, go to EEI, Essential Elements Interactive, change the speed, and then build it up. And then you'll be able to do this. And then you're still training your brain to recognize notes at a certain speed, but eventually it'll be fast enough and eventually be able to play along with us, okay? So let's go ahead and go on to 56. Now this one, G, F sharp, and E, but that's it. G's, F sharp, and E's.
56. Down and up.
And go. G, look at your music, F sharp. Look ahead, what's next? It's E. Back to F sharp. Look ahead, what's next? It's G. F sharp, E. All right, pause, do as many times as you need to be able to play it at that tempo. Now 57 does have a repeat sign, and so we will do it twice. We just won't do the then repeat it again. This one can be a little tricky because it doesn't follow the pattern of doing like 2 of 1 notes. You start off with 3 E's. That messes some people up. So just be aware of that. Going to 57.
57.
Hover your
Tribal
fingers
limit.
above the string that you're not using. Red, C, E's, go. Now look ahead, what's next? D, now E, look ahead, F sharp, now G, F sharp, and repeat, now D, E, F sharp, G, F sharp, E, Now, if you really are having some trouble with that one, something that's going to help you in a lot of your songs is starting to recognize patterns in music. There are quite a few patterns in your music. In most songs, there's some kind of a pattern. If you look at 57, I want you to notice, how are every single measure alike? How is every single measure alike? Well, the first measure has 3 E's. The second measure starts off with 3 E's. The third measure has 3 G's, but it's still 3 of something. And then the last measure has 3 E's, and then a rest. Okay? So measure 3 and 4 are a little different. They don't quite fit that pattern, but measure 3 is different because it's G's instead of E's, and measure 4 is different because it has a rest at the end. But recognizing the pattern is going to help you learn things more quickly. And the sooner you start recognizing those, when your music gets more complicated, you'll recognize them even quicker, and then you'll be able to learn the song even faster. So recognizing all of that, not just reading the notes, but recognizing the patterns is going to help you. We're going to skip both 58 and 59. 58 is just high D. 59 is high D and C sharp. If you're someone that's kind of struggling with reading your notes, I just recommend that you go ahead and do number 59 though, okay? Now going on to number 60, and when we did the clap and say on this one, you might remember that measure 3 is a problem for people. That's where they tend to mess up, okay? So remembering that, it wouldn't be a bad idea to pause the video now, do a real quick clap and say, and then go back and try to play it with us, okay? So we're just gonna do it once, but do what you feel like is going to help you the best. High D finger, it goes high D, C sharp, high D. To start with. So you're starting on 3 fingers on the A string. Phone hates me right now.
Elevator down.
High D, C sharp, high D. 2, right, C, and go. D, C sharp, D. Now look ahead, what's next? Now, here comes the 1, B. Show off, you let go. We're going to try that one again right now. High D down, 60, and go. D, now C sharp. Look ahead, what's next? C sharp. Now B. A. Okay, now going on to 61, elevator up, it's basically the opposite of number 60. So once you learn 60, I feel like 61 is going to be a little bit easier for you. But just look at it for a second. Again, people mess up in measure 3. So A, B, A. Instead of going D, C sharp, D, it goes A, B, A. And then goes up, B, B, B. Then up again, C sharp, high D, C sharp, high D, high D, high D. So again, this is actually recognizing a pattern flipped over from 60. 60 and 61 are kind of like mirror images of each other. Let's try 61.
61. Elevator up.
Fingers are hovered above the A string to start with. And go. A, B, A. Look ahead. What's next? Again, look ahead. C sharp. C sharp, high D. Now, if you are finding this page very frustrating, you are not alone. This page does take some time because you are now not only having to identify the notes, but you know what you're also having to do? You're having to figure out how to play them. That's another thing that has to go on in your head. So if you were able to clap and say, like, I can read notes, why is this so hard? Because you're having to add yet another level of things that we have to do. You got to think about, like, I don't know, 900 things at once or something like that. Now we got to think about 901. Because now not only do we have to identify the note, we have to hold our instrument right, we have to make sure our wrists are straight, all this stuff. We have to identify the note, and we have to figure out real quickly, our brain has to be firing stuff off like this. How do I play that note? How do I play B? You've got to be so super smart and so super fast. Again, this is going to be building your brain, and it's so good that you're doing this for yourself, that you're learning how to play an instrument. It's making you smarter. Every single time you pick up that violin or viola to play, and you are getting these things, you have now developed one more notch in your brain, and you're just going to be superhuman brain strength soon. So just keep working at it. So again, if this is frustrating, it's completely normal, completely normal. Okay, just keep trying, keep trying. Don't give up. Don't be like, I'm just doing this. That's not true. That is not true. You are completely normal. But you know what? You're going to keep trying, and then you won't be normal, but it'll be in a good way because you're going to be smarter. You're going to be smarter and you're going to be better. So we're going to skip number 62. Should you play it on your own? Yeah, probably. But guess what? It's the D major scale. And what am I wanting you to really focus on in this video? I'm wanting you to kind of focus on the note reading skills and putting those note reading skills to use, okay, in the form of your playing. Now, I would recommend on 63 that you do a clap and say, just to kind of review it before we try to play it. But we are going to do 63 now.
63. Scale simulator.
Fingers are hovered above the string. And go. 3 Ds. Find the pattern in this. E, D, E. Look ahead. F sharps. G, F sharp, G. You're going to start recognizing the pattern now. A. Now B, A, B. Now C sharp. Now high D. Okay, so the pattern in this, it's a 2-measure pattern really, but kind of it's an overall thing. Look at the first note of each measure. The first note of each measure, it goes D in measure 1, measure 2 is E, measure 3 is F sharp, measure 4 is G, measure A starts with A, and measure 5 starts with A, then B, then C sharp, then D. So each measure is going up the scale, all right? If you look at just the odd measures, look at measure 1, 3 open Ds. Measure 3, 3 F sharps. Look at measure 2 and 4 though. It starts on that next note up, but then it dips down and goes back up. Look at measure 4, G, F sharp, G. Second line, measure 2, B, A, B. Second line, measure 4, high D, C sharp, high D. Again, recognizing patterns, you will learn your songs much more quickly than if you just try to sit there and torture yourself with, I'm doing it wrong, I'm doing it wrong. Recognize patterns, work on it, take some time, and you will get it. I promise you. Just keep trying. Keep trying. It's going to take a while to get these 2 pages down. Keep trying. You should be playing these for at least a week or so before you're going to be able to get these down. But keep working on it.